you say that the presence of Goodluck Jonathan, okay, in Nigeria has improved the economy of Nigeria, right? Investment, infrastructure, or that physical things you like to mention that his presence has really done so much about?
Oh yeah, for the first time, right, we have the rail transport system, working again in this country, right? And then of course they are working to give us more, rail lines and the rest. But that's a very tangible thing that we see. We see that so much investment is gone into power, and hopefully, right, we're still at that foundation stage. So people are not seeing, the work that is being done. By the time they're through, we begin to have perhaps, 18 hours of uninterrupted power supply, and then 24 hours. That will be happening under this administration. And then, the people who have these assessments, right, the economies that we like to emulate, the people who have driven it right to the heights, that they are today, are the ones who are telling us that you do not see what this man is doing because he's taking care of the foundation.
The foundation.
Like I also mentioned, if we get the politics right, then you get the governance right.
Yes.
He's trying to get the politics right for Nigeria.
Exactly.
And then hopefully, right, the governance, will be right. There will be greater demand, by the people, right, for good governance.
Exactly.
And then there will be greater responsiveness, by the elite, by the ruling class, because they know that there's a credible opposition. So we are getting to that point when things shall begin to be right in this country, and somebody is driving that at the risk of his own political, of his own political future. So I think that he should be commended, and even rewarded.
Wow. Yes. All right, this is personal now. I'm coming back to you. You said earlier when we were discussing, you've not really declared openly your intentions, okay, of becoming the governor of River State come 2015. But it's obvious you want to be one. I can boldly tell you that. It's obvious that you want to be one. You feel things has to be done rightly. Okay, you think your people deserve a good leadership and governance.
Because they see that I'm burning with enthusiasm, burning with ideas, burning with dreams, of the River State that I want us to have, the River State that our forebears fought for, and dreamed of. I think it's realizable now that we have tremendous opportunity, right? We have huge talent. We have a wonderful large young population in River State, right? And then we need to harness that that energy, very very possibly, right, and channel it towards the growth of the states. So yes, I haven't started campaigns because it's not time for us to begin campaigns, but people desire. I was told only last week that a couple of youth groups and some other cultural groups were calling, urging me to come into the race.
That's in River State.
In River State, yes. I mean, I haven't declared, but it would seem that several voices are calling on me to take an interest, in the election, and I will, but it's not time for us to push that platform now. But the thing that people say is that they've had to relate with me over time. I've been involved, in the politics of our state, I think actively since 2003, I would say, and people have come to know me, for who I am, and they've come to know that this is someone who has a heart for people, somebody
human resources.
Oh yeah, someone who is interested, in the well-being of others, somebody who would use his own resources, right, to try to help others, and so for some people they wonder what I will do, if I have the Commonwealth, right, if I've been able to do so much. With what I've had to work for, which for most people they would like to keep, for the benefit of themselves, and their immediate families. But I have had to try to share things. But that's how, I was brought up. I had tremendous support, from family, from friends. Well, only God, can tell, from today who is going to be the next governor of River State. But I can tell you that if I'm fortunate to be the governor of River State, we're going to have, a wonderful state. I will be able to govern to the glory of God.
That's wonderful. I'm sure your people are already waiting for you. Just declare you have it.
Amen.
Just
Amen.
declare you have it.
Amen.
All right. It's getting more inspiring, people, and I hope you're enjoying every bit of all the details that Chief Lulu Briggs has been given to all of us. Okay, and we'll be supporting him very soon. All right. Honestly, I can't wait to see you win, come 2015,
Thank you.
because the name is a brand.
Thank you.
It's just a brand, okay? But it was in 2003,
Yeah.
right, when you were running for governorship as well, and you withdrew from the defunct party, that's NDP, right? Do you think that will not in any way affect support from your people?
I must thank you for asking me this, and I will say, that a lot of people are still having difficulty understanding the reasons for my withdrawal.
Okay.
Because that campaign also had a lot of support, tremendous support.
And you won the primaries there.
From young people. Yes, I won the primary, of my party. As a matter of fact, I had to leave the PDP, because I knew that the PDP was a closed shop at the time, and there was no way you could sludge the governor, of the party. So I had to take the platform of another party called the NDP.
NDP.
And then, we also had, a group, of association of all opposition, political parties, who had come up against, the misrule, as we termed it, of the Goodluck Administration. Unfortunately, the opposition decided, and that's what people don't, get. The opposition decided that perhaps because I was young, they wanted somebody else, to run, and so I was asked, to withdraw from the race, and I said no, I wasn't going to withdraw. And I wasn't going to withdraw because I didn't know the reasons, for their conclusion.
Okay.
And then when I pried for that, they said because I was young. And I found that, very, very sad, very unfortunate, because we have been a sandwich generation. Today they say we are too young, to be something. Tomorrow we shall be too old to be anything. you know. And so I was 39 at the time, you know, and then people thought I was, you know, I was too young to become governor of Rivers State, and I found that rather insulting, you know, to persons, you know, of my generation. And I said, no, that this is not a purposeful opposition. And I knew at that time that, well, because of the level of support that I got, you know, that it would be better for an opposition that isn't well-intentioned, that does not have, you know, anything to offer to my generation. Part of the reason they also gave was that they believed, you know, that I was only passionate about the issues, that I didn't have strong militant groups supporting me. You know, I didn't have, and I would not be able to match, you know, the governor, as they said, you know, talk for talk, you know, guns for guns and all that. You know, and so I said, well, so is it education that we have to give to my, you know, people of my generation, or guns? Are we going to have to use my, you know,
guns.
People of my generation, right, as dogs, you know, to fight, you know, political battles? And I knew that, well, that the opposition, right, wasn't well-meaning for Rivers people, and that it was better, you know, that we had, you know, Peter Day returned. And so I didn't want a situation where, you know, perhaps my remaining in the race would give, you know, the opposition some sort of credibility. You know, so I actually came out, you know, and embraced, you know, the governor. And I have, you know, no regrets.
All right, people, it's been exciting, it's been informative with Chief Dumo Lulu Briggs. Let's go on this short break. When I come back, we'll be talking, you know, his projects and other things. We'll be back. People, before we go, let's just ask him just one more question before we take our leave. Chief, tell us more about the summit and some of the philanthropic work you've been doing recently. Yeah.
Well, thanks. You know, the economic summit, right? This year centered on, you know, on education, and because, you know, as a people we realize that education is key.
Yeah.
And for the first time too, we had our young people, you know, who are in schools come out to speak of the Nigeria of their dreams, you know, what they would like to see, you know, this country become. So those challenges are the things that we must overcome. We need to invest, you know, seriously, right, in education. And that has to also do with having, you know, access to, you know, to schools and having quality teachers. We used to have, you know, this teacher assessment thing that we used to do those days when we were in schools. I'm not sure we still did those things, you know. So you're going to have, right, a government that must create world-class infrastructure, but you must also have a government that is interested, right, in using education, right, to drive, you know, the dream. So have a strong national dream and have education, you know, drive it. So I was happy that, you know, almost the entirety of the you know, economic summit which we had in Abuja in the last 3 days, right, you know, centered, you know, on education. So Nigeria is beginning to understand that education, right, is the key. It is what has helped countries like Singapore, countries like China, you know, countries like, you know, like Finland, like Norway. Education, right, is what they've used, right, to drive the economies. And then education is also what you use, right, to impart, you know, aspiration into, you know, your people. Right? What is the national vision? Right? If we educate our people, then, you know, they are more likely to understand the national vision. And when they know that, right, that we are supportive of their efforts, then they are, you know, they become more willing, right, to turn out, you know, better citizens.
Exactly.
So it's fantastic, and that's why for me, I made it a priority, you know, that I help indigent, you know, students, you know, and that's what I've done across the local government areas in Rivers State. I mean, wherever I go, I look out for people who are brilliant, or who otherwise would be able to, you know, to afford, you know, education. And I try to support, you know, their efforts, either through their parents or directly if they are matured. A young boy who just did his youth service, you know, he sent me a test. You know, I didn't know how he got my number. He sent me a test which I ignored because I get so many notes. I ignored the test. you know. And then he sent me a text again in the morning, wishing me well, and saying that well that he will seek, he's looking for an opportunity. You know, he doesn't want to beg for money, but if I can have him, you know, just help wash my cars, you know, so that he just needs to be able to raise some money. So I took an interest and I took his call. You know, one of the times he called me, and it was very well spoken. So I asked him, why would you want to come and wash my cars rather than go to school? He said, well, that's exactly why he wants to wash my cars, because he wants to be able to raise some money, you know, to go to school. So I asked, are you willing to go to school? He said, oh yes. And as a matter of fact, he also has an admission right now at the Niger Delta University. I said, are you serious? He said, yes. You know, I said, okay. Go to my office. I'll have someone check the the veracity of your statements to me, and then if you indeed have admission, we'll see to it that that your dream is realized. You don't have to wash my cars. I didn't get to meet the young man until he was out of school and out of youth service. And then he was curious. So you see that, and there are so many such such people.
Exactly.
There is a lady, my father isn't feeling too well today, and there's a lady who called me on the phone, and I have a device in my phone, right? It's called the True Caller device. It sort of tries to identify callers even though you didn't have the numbers in your phone stored. And then it was reading in my phone as blind lawyer, so I picked an interest. So I took her call. And that's well that she had issues, but that she knew me when I was much younger. And she also was working at the bank when my father was just a staff at the Nigerian Ports Authority.
Wow.
And when she just gave that brief history, I took her and I said, "Madam, so how may I help?" He said, "Well, that she has problems, that has to do with her sight, and that she also has some spinal cord issues." I said, "Okay, fine. I don't know, how I'm going to address all of that now, but if I know what you really want now, right, let's see how we can do that." So eventually, we got talking, and then I said, "Okay, I don't have to come, right, for us to get something done. I'm the chairman of the Federal Medical Center in Owerri." So I called my medical director, and I said, "Well, I have someone that has some challenge." And she asked if I had any reports on the person. I said, "Yeah, well, I don't have, but I can have the person send me the report and I can send it to you." So she looked at it and said, "Oh, there's a wonderful place in Abuja, some Indian doctors, who do spinal cord surgery and all that, and the rest." And I felt, that there's a need for me to try to reach out. As expensive as that operation was, I tried to do it for her. But, for me, right, that is what this world is about, right? You reach out and touch, you reach out and feel the other. It's important, right, that we find comradeship, and then by God's grace, God will reward us appropriately.
He will indeed. Thank you so much. I just want you in a few seconds to mention them like ABC, okay? One innovation or one thing you think you are going to do for River State come 2015 if you win the election. Just pop.
One, right, they will see, first-class infrastructure.
First-class infrastructure,
right?
yeah. Okay.
Two, they will see education like they've never seen before.
Education like never,
they've
never seen before.
Yes.
Okay.
And three, they will see good governance.
Good governance.
Good governance. A government that is responsive. A government that will
True and
insist on the rule of law. A government that will create opportunities for everybody. And accommodate everyone, especially those who live in the shadows of life. I keep,
emphasizing on that.
I keep saying that, because you see,
where you're coming from.
Yes, we need to create, the environment so that competition can strive, and then we also will have, to equip those, right, who do not have the tools, right, to be able to compete.
Exactly.
So we must be able to give them the opportunity, to acquire those tools. So that is why for me, right, it's important. So we're going to have, a state where I think we'll begin to also address that divide between the rich and the poor.
Wow. Thank you so much, Chief. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time out. I think I should use two hands now because you're a chief.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this long time you've spent with us, sharing these issues that, touches the heart. I must say it's an issue that touches the heart, and a lot of people have been inspired today. Okay, you've come a long way, and the people of River State get ready, because as we are praying for him, he's going to win. All right, people.
Let me thank you for the rather warm handshake.
Oh, thank you.
In the close season, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chief. All right, people, this is where we'll be dropping Close Flow today. Talking with Chief Dumo Lulu Briggs has been wonderful, inspiring, and insightful, and I hope you enjoyed every bit of it. Thank you so much for being with us, and make sure same time, same session that you tune into Close Flow. Thank you very much, and be